All right, welcome everybody today to the Plus This Jam session. There's a date today. Hang on, let's see. Today's the 9th of May. I guess I could have checked that before or looked at this thing right here. Anybody, welcome everybody who's here. Looks like we're kind of short on viewers right now, but I'm just going to get rolling, and people will join as they do. So let me flip on my screen real quick, and I'll take you through my little intro, and then we will go from there. All right. First of all, welcome everybody again to the jam session today. The jam session today is brought to you by Cliff Shot Blocks, which, if you don't know what that is, I'm going to turn off my screen for a second and just show this to you. I don't actually know. For me, this is showing in backwards, so I don't know if this is showing like a mirror for me. So I don't know if this is showing the right way for you, but this is what they are: shot blocks. It's basically like little gummy bears. Just a bunch of sugar, essentially, for when I'm on my long rides. I did a really long ride yesterday, an 80-mile ride, training ride, preparing for my century at the end of the month, and this thing saved my life several times. So let's get back to the matter at hand, business to which we are that we need to attend to. As usual, feel free to tweet your questions to me or just jump on the jam sessions, anything that you'd like to do. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. Some of you may not know me. I know that I do this every time, but I'm going to just introduce myself a little bit, and then we'll dive in. So my name's Brett, and I'm the guy on the right in the jacket, that sweet leather jacket. That's what we got going on there. Actually, okay, we got a couple of people on. I'm going to pause just for a second and see if I can see anybody in the... Nope. Dang it. There was supposed to be this way that I was going to be able to let people talk, but it looks like I'm not able to do that. Okay, well, whatever. We're going to keep going. I worked at Infusionsoft for a number of years, worked as an ICC for a number of years, and then worked at 6th Division for a couple of years. And so I have a lot of experience with implementation and training and helping people use softwares. And it helps a lot when I'm helping people with Plus This because I can take all of that history and that training and put it to good use for you guys. So now I'm rocking it at Plus This, keeping things real, doing what we do, and having a lot of fun. I actually have really enjoyed the time since I've moved over to the Plus This side. It's a little bit more freeing, and I'm kind of able to take things the way that I want to, so it's been fun. Today, I wanted to chat with you guys about a couple of things, and then today I wanted to make it more about questions. So if people have come with questions, then I'm welcome to. I want to answer any questions that you have. But let's go through our agenda. So we already talked about shot blocks. The Russian word of the day today is actually 2 words: 80 milyev. And I think there's actually another letter in there that I may be forgetting. I may not be spelling it right, but 80 milyev means 80 miles. 80 is 80, and then milyev is miles. I'm kind of in the mood to talk about that since I'm kind of proud of myself that I was able to survive an 80-mile bike ride. Yeah, it was fun. Housekeeping. There's actually not any housekeeping items for us to go over today, so I'm just going to dive right into it. Today, I want to show you an enhancement we've made to a feature, and then maybe I'll just pick a couple of features and talk about them, and then as people have questions, then we'll just dive through and answer those questions. And again, just type your questions in as you get them. I haven't quite figured out. Some people sent me some information last week about how to actually let people talk on the jam sessions, like through the Hangout. But I haven't been able to figure it out. So there may be an app that I need to download for it to make it work or something. I don't know. Maybe by next week. I think what I'll try and do this week, if I have time, is get some people that I can do a couple of test runs with and see if we can't figure it out so that in the future I can actually chat with people. Because I've really liked that about the GoToWebinars things we did with the 6th Division Jam sessions, was the fact that I could actually chat with people about their questions and go from there. So anyway, so let's dive in and make it happen. Okay. All right. So today the feature that I want to show you is the video tracking feature, and actually I'm going to go to YouTube to grab some code so that I can show this to you. So if you go to the video tracking feature, we've added some functionality there so that you can, so it gives you the link that you need to put into Infusionsoft, just making it easier. And as always, there's always a good, funny Jennifer Lawrence video that we can use. So I'm going to go ahead and just pick this one off the top. And she like starts screaming right at the beginning. I've used this. Wow, yep, there she goes. Okay. Share, and then we're going to grab the embed code. Okay, this is all just for the setup, so I apologize for the. Okay. So I got the embed code dropped in there. We're going to say at 1, 2, 3 seconds, I want to apply X tag, and then we're going to call this test video. The idea here is once it gives me my code, if I click my website, you'll notice this thing down here is new, the generate link for Infusionsoft emails. What you'll do is you'll take the embed code, drop it on your page, and then come back here and say, this is the link on my page where I'm actually putting the video. So it'll be http://plusthis.com/video. Then below, you'll notice it just generates that link for you, and this is the link that you'll put into your Infusionsoft emails. Okay, or as the thank you page of your web form, whatever it's going to be. This is the link you'll use so that when they click to that video, it'll actually track them. Okay, that's just a little something that we added there to make that work. We have some cool things. I'm really excited. I can't really talk much about it, but we have some cool things in the pipeline that we're building right now for PlusThis, and so stay tuned for some of that stuff as we go through, and we'll make that happen. Okay. So, and remember, as you have questions, we're just going to go through, and I'll just answer questions as they come up. I have a couple of questions right here that I'm gonna pick off. This question, I guess you guys can all see this. So when I do that, it just makes George feel cool that he's the one that we're answering on right now. So, question is, I want to create smart links for campaign sequence that the links expire, redirect to a certain number of days, in a certain number of days on a fixed time. Yes. Yes. In fact, I believe, George, that we may have exchanged emails about this a little earlier in the week. Okay, this is a great idea. So let me show you. I'm going to go and open up Infusionsoft, and I'm going to show you how exactly you would make this happen. So it would be, let's go to my Infusionsoft. Oh, that's not where I want to go. Okay. And then in here, we're going to go to, we'll add a smart link, and we'll configure this. Okay, so what we're going to do, just to kind of set the stage here, what's happening, is we're going to use a campaign to apply a tag when the link expires. Okay, so essentially we're going to use, or actually it's going to remove a tag when the link expires. So we're going to say if they have, let's say this is plusthis.com/link is good, which means it's not expired yet. Okay, and we're going to say we're going to send them there if they don't have the 3 referrals tag. Again, I'm just picking random tags, but you would understand. This is where we're going to send them if the link is good, and then down here in the fallback URL, we're going to create plusthis.com link expired. Okay, so we're all kind of on the same page here as to what we're talking about. We've got link is good. Is where they're going to go if the link is still good, and then it's expired is where they're going to go if not. So essentially, we just need to set up the campaign to remove the tag, this tag, when the link is no longer good for them. Okay. So in here, inside the Infusionsofts, your campaign is going to look thusly. I'll just use one of these. It's fine. So I've got a bunch of other crap in here. Don't worry about that stuff. It's all test stuff. Okay, so there's a bunch of stuff that's happening here. What you're going to do is you have your goal and your sequence, and you're just tying into automation that you've already got in there, right? So let's actually just get rid of these. It'll be easier. All right, so you've got your form here. This is the one we're talking about here. Form here, and this is going to drive that link, which is going to give them access to that page, and then we want to have it expire at midnight after a certain number of days. So what you're going to do is you're going to first apply the tag. So we're going to apply the 3 referrals tag. Right? Then we're going to send the email or emails, however many of them they're going to be. So we'll pull over an email. And then what you're going to do is drop in a timer. And by the way, you can do this. There's a lot of different ways you can do this. You could set the email on its own line, and then have there's just the tags on one line, or however you want to do it. It's fine. Hang on just a second. I'm going to sneeze. Thank goodness for a little mute button, so you guys don't have to listen to me sneeze. Okay, so we'll send the email, and then we're going to set up a timer that's going to tell us, this is the timer we're going to set up for when the link expires. So we're going to say, I want to wait, let's say 3 days, and I want to run on any day or a weekday, it doesn't really matter, and then you're just going to pick the time. So based on where you are, and based on what you want midnight to be, midnight obviously is variable, because if you're on the East Coast and you say midnight, that's only 9 o'clock for West Coast people. But if it's midnight West Coast, that's 3 a.m. Eastern time. So you just have to make sure that you take that into consideration. So you just drop in that 12 a.m. and then what happens is you'll do another process to remove that tag. Okay, and the tag is 3 referrals. So now what we've got is then basically this link that we've created here. This will be the link that we'll put into the email itself. So we take this link. This is the link we drop into the email that's in here, where they have the link and they have access to it. First, we apply the tag, which gives them access to the link. Let's see, link available, or what do we call it? Link not expired, or something like that. I forget what it was. But that tag will give them access to the link is good page, and then the sequence will remove the tag, which effectively removes their access to that page. So anytime anybody clicks, anytime the person clicks the link after this tag has been removed, they'll go to another page that says, "Sorry, you missed the deadline." Okay. So that's pretty much how you do that. That's actually a great way to use the smart links. It's a way basically to set this up so that you can do time delayed offers. It's kind of a way to recreate what Infusionsoft can do in the opportunity module with the buy now links. It's a little bit different, obviously, because it's not like direct functionality, but the idea is as long as you remove the tag or reset the custom fields or whatever you need to do, then that's what you got to do there. Okay, so that's a great question. Great question. All right, let's see what else we got. Okay, it looks like we don't have any other questions. I'm gonna go through a couple of other features just to kind of prime people. We've only been going for about 15 minutes, and I'm sure there's going to be some stragglers that are going to show up with some questions. So I'm going to go back to plus this. I want to talk for a second about, not my features. Let's go to feature library. I want to talk for a second about actually, you know what? I'm going to go, we talked about this last week, but I'm going to start here in this proper case field. So this is a new feature. Some of you may or may not know about this feature, but this new feature basically allows you to take fields, any text field, and change the casing in the field. So, like a lot of times when people fill out forms, they'll either type their name in Goint. I don't know what that was. They'll type their name in, all caps. Man, now I've got caps lock on. I'm having trouble here. Right? They'll type their name in like this, or they'll have caps lock on and they'll just quickly write their name, and it comes in weird, where we have all this kind of weird capitalizing stuff. This feature basically takes any field, any text field, and changes it so that the first letter of each word is capitalized. So if you needed to change names, if you needed to change addresses or anything like that, so that the caps is proper, then you can use this feature to do that. And the nice thing about this too is that this is another one of those features you can just run from the updater. And I can't really stress enough, the updater seems to get overlooked quite a bit. The updater is a great way to use plus this sort of on a one-off basis. A lot of you are limited, well, all of you are limited to some extent by the number of features that you're paying for. And this is a way for you to use a feature and then get rid of the feature so that you can use it for something else. because you can just run it. Like maybe once a week you need to run some reporting numbers. So you come in here and you just select, I need to run the addition and subtraction, or the how much time is between two events on all these people, and then you're done with it. You don't need it again until the next week. And so you could use it for use that feature slot for something else, and then come back just once a week or twice a week or once a month or whatever, and just run all these features from here. Because it can get kind of cumbersome to have to go into every campaign where you need these things to be calculated and make sure you add it in there, because it's not going to retroactively go and run that feature on people that have been in the sequence in the past. And so this is a great way to do that. So I would take some time and play around with the updater and actually just run a couple of features through there and get familiar with it and get used to it, because it can definitely be a huge help to you as you're setting things up. Okay, so let me talk about a couple more features, and we'll see if we get any more questions. And if not, then we can call it a day. It's not a big deal. We can come back around later. So we talked about smart links. The one thing about smart links that I want to point out, this actually is something that I've done in the past before with different people, and I talked to a couple of people this week about this, is that you can actually nest these smart links features together. And I'm going to turn on my webcam so that I can talk to you about this, because I have to use my hands when I explain this. So when you have your these smart links features, you can actually set each of them up to sort of run into each other. So you could set the URL for one of these things to be the URL of another smart links feature, which means you can have like nested decisions on where somebody goes. Meaning, I want to find all the people who maybe have two questions, okay? A, B, C on the first question, A, B on the second question, okay? You want to take everybody who answered A on the first question, and you want to split those people out by or on the second question, right? They answered A on the second question. You want to split them out based on what they answered on the first question. So first we have to check, did they answer A on the second question? And then from there we have to decide which did they decide on the first question. And if they didn't answer A on the first question, then we just want to roll them, then we just want to move them forward that way. So we basically, let me turn my screen back on. I guess I didn't really turn my screen off, but let me just show my screen again. So what we would do here is we would say, I want to do based on a field value. Let's say I have a field. If this field is yes, let's say it's question 1 and question 2. Question 1 has 2 questions. Question 1 has 2 answers, A, yes or no, and question 2 has 3 answers, yes, no, and maybe, or A, B, and C, or whatever like that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to say if they answer yes, then we want to send them to another smart links feature, which is going to split them out based on their answer to the first question. Okay. If not, then we're just going to split them out based on the answer to the second question. So now we're going to say this other field. So this would be question 2 equals A field values whatever equals B. Right. You kind of see where I'm going with this. So essentially, you could have 2 different categories of the thank you pages for this question 2. Like these 3 here, these represent the answers to question 2, right here. This represents the answers to question 1. So if they answer yes to question 1, we're going to send them to another feature which will just have these 3. So now basically we're splitting against 6 different thank you pages and not just 3 or 2, because we're using the different information as we go there. So as long as you have this set up to pass the person's information to the thank you page, you can just drop the URL of another smart links feature right into here, and then it'll say yes, and then it checks on the second question to see what they answered, and then it'll drive them that way. Okay. All right, George got another question here. Can PlusHIS create a humanized date in an email based on an upcoming expiry on an offer? Yes. This is going to require a couple of features. You're going to use a couple of things at the same time, but it is possible. What you would do in this sequence here, what we said was we just assumed it would be a certain number of days. What you would have to do in order to put the humanized date is you have to actually store the date when their free trial expires in Infusionsoft, which luckily you can do using +this. So you would basically, instead of, well, let's do it this way. What you do is you would go down to the Implementers Toolkit. There's a couple of pieces. So the first piece is you have to calculate the date when their trial, when the link expires. So you go use the what's the date feature, and then you'll take today's date and you'll add, you know, in our case, you could just do like 3 days, whatever you want to do, and you'll store that date into a particular field. We'll use the webinar date field, but this will be the link offer expires date or whatever. Okay, so this is the first thing. Calculate link expiry date. Okay. So we'll take this link and we'll drop it into the sequence. We need to make sure this thing happens. So we're going to go move some of this stuff around. Now, one thing here is that this is going to, when you run multiple features like this, it takes a little bit of time. And so you have to make sure when you set this up that you're not configuring it so that like the email will be sent before all this stuff gets configured. So basically, you'll configure that first. And then, and I'm sure that everybody's kind of following where I'm going here, right? So first you calculate the number of days that are out, and then you'll use the sequence. The timer here will be a field timer instead of, or I mean, it actually could still be a date timer. I mean, as long as it's the same number of days, it's fine. It doesn't really matter. But you'll do that. That'll calculate the date. Then you'll use the humanize Infusionsoft dates to humanize the date and then drop it in. And you can also use the how much time is between two events feature to give them your link expires in 3 days on such and such date at such and such time, right? So you could go all out on it, but just remember, the more of those features that you stack together like that, the more careful you have to be about the timing of it, just to make sure that things are happening and the calculations are happening in the right order. So that's a great question, though. That's a great sort of series of questions about smart links and setting those up. Like if you're going full featured on it, the idea is exactly what you're talking about, George. It's setting up calculating the date when it expires, humanizing that date to put it in the email, and then you could even go farther, like I was saying, and add the number of days until it expires in there as well. Okay. All right. Okay, so we're done with that. Great. Cool. Okay, let me go back here to plus this. Okay, a couple last things that I want to talk about real quick, and then we're going to call it a day unless we get some more questions. First of all, if you go to the My Account section in Infusion, in Plus This, and I would actually suggest that everybody, honestly, like this is like implementer, trainer Brett talking here. This is not just Plus This Brett, but like implementer person. You should plan on spending about 15 minutes a day, at least, just messing around in Plus This. You should just block that in. Maybe it's the first thing you do. Maybe you do it over lunch. Maybe you do it the last thing before you leave, whatever. You need to spend some time and just click around. You need to have seen everything in Plus This, mostly because there's not that much there, meaning in about 2 weeks, if you spent 15 minutes a day, actually in about a week, you could have clicked to every single page. But the nice thing is, then you know things that you didn't know before about what you can do. And I obviously can't reach into your mind and find out what you don't know, and so then go over all those things that you don't know. So the jam sessions are only as helpful as either I can come up with topics to talk about or somebody comes up with questions to ask. But if you click around on these different things, you'll find different places where you can configure different information. So like changing the email address, sorry, not the email address, but the password on your account. Or you know, if you have a GoToWebinar account you need to remove, you can remove it here. Additional invoices. If you're using SMS messages, this is where your invoices will show up for all of your SMS messages for all the additional stuff that you're being charged for. Okay. So just keep that in mind as you do that. And then also the help section. Specifically, if you have billing questions, like if you need to update your credit card, or if you need to change the billing to somebody else, or whatever it is, you can come to the help section and submit a ticket, and then we have some systems in place to help to facilitate that. We have a Customer Hub account set up, and we can send you a link to get logged in and have all that stuff figured out. So again, I think the biggest thing here is spend some time in Plus This, and if for no other reason, this might be a little bit selfish of me. I really like doing these jam sessions. Here, I want you to see my heartfelt, my eyes as they look at you when I say this to you. I really like doing the jam sessions, and I really, really like when people have good questions to ask, so that I can take people through and show a bunch of different things. And I'm not saying that. I'm not like calling everybody out and saying, how dare you not have good questions. It's more, if you spend time in Plus This during the week and just make a list of questions that you want to have answered, and then come to the jam session on Friday, then we can have a more productive jam session. I get a better idea of how you guys are actually using it. And honestly, the more I know about how you're using it and what your frustrations are and what you like, the better we can make the product. Because literally the degree of separation between you and the guy who makes the decisions about what gets developed and how is me. I'm the only thing that stands between the two of you. And so if there's things that you want to see, if there's ideas, whether it's feature enhancements or new features or like interface design differences, things like that, the more you use it, the more you'll have opinions, and the more opinions you have that you bring to the jam sessions, the more that I know, and then so on and so forth, that gets passed on down the line. So my admonition to you today is make a commitment, spend 15 to 20 minutes per day just messing around in Plus This, figuring out different things you can do, and then bring questions to these jam sessions, and we will rock it out and have some good things to go. Thanks today, George, for the question. That's very helpful, I think, to show for other people, and as other people have questions. I mean, people have come with questions in the past, and it's been great. So just keep doing that, and we'll be around. I'm going to leave this replay on the plusthis.com/jam page until next week. I think I'm going to start doing that by default. So if you want to check out the replay, go there. Also, it will be on the help site. So thanks, everybody. We will see you next week.